Episode 66. Wasn't this one of the jewelry shops under Ren Yuan's company? The one with the white poodle as its symbol, their jewelry, was known to be extremely high-end, often 10 times the price of regular pieces. She carefully opened the box. The moment her eyes landed on the tiny, shining object inside, she felt her vision blur with unshed tears. This is a ring. Tan Hua's eyes turned teary when she saw the item inside the expensive-looking box. Inside, there was a silver ring decorated with a pink diamond. The diamond was shaped like a cute dog paw, making the ring look elegant and playful at the same time. The ring was made from white gold and embedded with a rare pink diamond. Not to mention the intricate craftsmanship. The cost of the ring could be imagined. It must be extremely expensive. Tan Hua caressed the ring as she held back her tears. This ring was the one Nan Shen had made for her, but the Nan Shen who had custom made this wasn't the same Nan Shen she knew now. It was Nan Shen before the accident, the one who remembered her, who still had feelings for her, not the distant man he had become. Tan Hua raised an eyebrow when she felt something engraved on the inner side of the ring. As she ran her fingers over it, she realized it was a sentence. She flipped the ring and brought it closer to her eyes to read what was written inside. But since the words were too small, she had to use a magnifying glass. "For my beloved doggo," Tan Hua muttered each word. And when she finally read the full sentence, she almost couldn't hold back her tears. It wasn't because she was called doggo again, but because those words, for some reason, deeply touched her heart. It might sound like a playful remark to others, but to her, it held a special meaning. It wasn't complicated. It simply meant that she was his. That was all. But maybe because Nan Shen had been so distant lately, this simple sentence felt incredibly warm to her. Tan Hua was about to cry again when she suddenly stopped. She realized that crying wouldn't bring Nan Shen's memories back. It wouldn't change anything. No, she couldn't keep living like this, dwelling on how much Nan Shen had changed, or how her life had taken a different turn because of it. She couldn't let sadness consume her. She believed that as long as Nan Shen regained his memory, he would return to his usual self. She couldn't give up. She had to see him one more time, because she wasn't someone who gave up so easily. Nan Shen's mansion. Nan Shen lay on his bed, letting out a long sigh. Today was the day he was finally discharged from the hospital, and now he was back home. He still couldn't remember much about his own house, but one thing he was sure of: the moment he entered, the house felt strangely quiet. Maybe it was because he had forgotten how it used to feel. But for some reason, the house seemed cold and empty, lacking the warmth a home should have. Was it because he lived alone? But why did he have the feeling that recently the house hadn't been this empty? Like someone else had been living here, making it feel warm and lively. But now that person was gone? That wouldn't make sense, though. No one had told him that someone else had lived here, and he himself found it unlikely that he would ever share his home with anyone, not even a future girlfriend. He simply liked being alone. That was all. Nan Shen stared at the ceiling, then decided to walk around the house again. Since he still hadn't regained all of his memories, he wasn't even sure which room was his earlier. As he walked past one of the rooms on the second floor, he suddenly stopped. For some reason, he felt a strange sense of familiarity, as if he had walked past this room many times before, even though there was no reason for him to go this way. What room was this? Nan Shen slowly opened the door. Inside, the room was empty, except for the furniture. It looked like a normal guest room, but something felt different. Why did this particular guest room have better furniture than the others? He knew he had always made all the guest rooms identical. He liked things to be fair. But this one was different. It was obvious that he had redesigned the interior, but why? He rarely had guests, and even if someone important visited, he wouldn't remodel a room just for a short stay. For him to redecorate this guest room, could it be that someone important had lived here for a long time? But who? Who had stayed here long enough for him to make such changes? And how important was this person to him? Nan Shen was lost in thought when suddenly he heard the doorbell ring. Ting tong! Nan Shen heard the doorbell. It meant someone was outside his mansion. Usually, he would order his humanoid maid to open the door since he never did it himself. But because he still couldn't remember how to use the humanoid maid, he chose to go out by himself. Clack. Yes, Nan Shen was just about to ask who it was and what business they had when he suddenly froze. Standing in front of him was his ex-girlfriend, still in her boyish disguise. Tan Hua? Nan Shen felt a bit awkward facing someone he had broken up with, so he scratched his head absent-mindedly as he spoke. You don't remember anything now, but I will not give up. Since you don't remember me, I'll just make you fall in love with me once again. Tan Hua pointed her finger at Nan Shen's nose as she declared her bold statement. She didn't beat around the bush and went straight to the point. What she wanted to say was that even though Nan Shen didn't remember her, she wouldn't give up. Even though he had broken up with her, claiming he didn't love her, she still wouldn't give up. If he didn't love her anymore because he had lost his memories, then she would simply make him fall in love with her again. Nan Shen was taken aback by Tan Hua's sudden declaration. He thought she had come to discuss business about her brand, but instead, she had come all the way here just to declare something as bold as this. It was impossible. This girl wasn't his type. Well, go ahead and try. I'll be waiting for the moment you can make me fall in love with you. Nan Shen chuckled, amused by Tan Hua's persistence. She really was different from other girls. Usually, when someone was rejected, they would cry, get angry, and eventually move on. But this girl had come all the way to his house just to declare that she would make him fall for her again. Well, he didn't believe the again part since he had no memory of ever falling in love with her. But her words alone earned her a few points in his mind. Interesting. When the time comes, when you recover all your memories or fall in love with me again, just wait and see. I'll make you beg on your knees. Tan Hua huffed, seeing Nan Shen's playful response to her declaration. Maybe Nan Shen hadn't completely changed after all. His usual annoying and playful self was still there. Just look at his response. Was this a challenge? Well, who was she to back down from a challenge? Bring it on. She would make this man fall head over heels for her, and when the time came, she would make sure he regretted ever letting her go. Interesting. Let's make a bet, shall we? Nan Shen's curiosity was piqued by Tan Hua's unwavering determination, so he casually proposed a challenge. This girl was so confident that she could make him fall for her, so why not make things more interesting? Life had been dull lately, and a bet would at least make things entertaining. What bet? The word bet sent alarm bells ringing in Tan Hua's mind. The last time Nan Shen proposed a bet, she had lost miserably. I'll give you a time limit. Make me fall for you by winter. If you fail, you have to design something exceptional for my company for free. But if you win, I'll let you keep the money you've been collecting to repay your debt to me. How about it? Nan Shen raised an eyebrow as he laid out the terms. Since this girl was going to shamelessly chase after him anyway, why not make a game out of it? He was certain he wouldn't fall for her that easily. 3 months? Impossible. You'll pay off my entire debt if I win? Really? Deal. Tan Hua's eyes lit up. She hadn't expected the bet to be this beneficial for her. This was perfect since she was going to chase after him no matter what. Why not take this opportunity? She might look desperate now, but just wait until Nan Shen regained his memories, or finally fell in love with her again. She wouldn't accept his confession so easily. Oh no, he would have to beg on his knees in front of everyone. Deal. Now do your best. Nan Shen smirked, waving his hand dismissively. Without giving Tan Hua a chance to say another word, he closed the door right in front of her face, making her nearly bump her nose against it. Blam! Tan Hua stood there, speechless. She clenched her fists, tempted to kick the door in frustration. But after taking a deep breath, she calmed herself. Hurting her leg over that annoying man wasn't worth it. Tan Hua's house. Tan Hua had just arrived home when her phone suddenly rang. It was Mai Shu calling. Yes? Tan Hua quickly answered the call. She thought Mai Shu would talk about her daily life like usual, or ask if she was fine. But then she heard Mai Shu cry. Tan Hua. My mom passed away. Mai Shu's voice trembled as she dropped another bomb on Tan Hua, making the girl freeze on the spot. Huh? Mai Shu's mom passed away? Tan Hua was so shocked that she didn't know what to say. Mai Shu was a reincarnated person, so she already knew that in her past life, her mother died after being poisoned by her father's mistress. So Mai Shu should have already done something to prevent this, right? Why had her mother still passed away? I'll be there as soon as possible. Tan Hua cut the call after promising Mai Shu she would come to her house as quickly as she could. While dressing up, Tan Hua thought about this unfortunate event again and couldn't help but frown. In the drama she watched, she bet that Mai Shu also couldn't prevent her mother's death. Well, she hadn't watched the drama up to this event, so she wouldn't know what would happen in the future. But one thing she realized: no matter how hard we try, some things just couldn't be changed. Just like Mai Shu's mother's death. Her mother was destined to die no matter the cause. In the end, she had to die, or else this world would be thrown into chaos. Maybe even Shen Ling couldn't intervene since he wasn't the one who created this world, he only managed it as a god. Whatever happened in this world went exactly the same as the drama. Some unimportant details, like who fell in love with whom, might not affect anything. But if the male and female leads didn't end up together in the end, that would be trouble. Wait, but she was also supposed to be dead already, wasn't she? Tanhua stopped in her tracks just as she locked her house door. She hadn't realized this before, but when Maishu mentioned her mother's death, something very, very important struck her. Wasn't she changing this body's fate by avoiding death? But looking at Mishu's mother's condition, wouldn't she, in the end, also die shortly? Not from old age, but maybe something else. Miss, come in quick. Tanhua was just about to continue her thoughts when the taxi she had ordered snapped her out of it. Okay. Tanhua quickly entered the car, shaking herself out of her thoughts. But she still had this lingering feeling that one day, in the near future, she might die. What would happen if she did die in the future? Would her soul switch back, or… No, she shouldn't make random guesses. She should just ask Shen Ling. Mishu's house. Calm down. Nan Shen hugged Maishu, who was trying hard not to cry. She wanted to appear strong, not wanting her enemies, her fake family, to see her weakness over her mother's death. At this time, Ren Yuan was trapped in a traffic jam, and Nan Shen, who always had spies around Mishu and even Ren Yuan, got the news of Mishu's mother's death faster than anyone. So here he was, already consoling Mishu like a second male lead should. But poor him, just as he hugged Mishu and patted her back to comfort her, Tanhua arrived. Tanhua. Seeing Tanhua arrive, and not wanting to create any misunderstandings, Maishu quickly pushed Nan Shen away, before running toward Tanhua for a hug. Mishu. Tanhua's eyes darted from Nan Shen's face to Mishu, who had already thrown her arms around her. Maishu wasn't crying, but Tanhua could tell that she really wanted to. She just didn't want to show her weak side. I'm glad you're here. Maishu gripped Tanhua's shoulders as she tried to hold back her tears. But just being in Tanhua's embrace gave her an unimaginable warmth, something she had never felt from a friend before. She couldn't help but slowly break down, crying into Tanhua's shoulder. There. Tanhua completely ignored Nan Shen after seeing him casually hug Mishu out of nowhere, as if trying to gain her attention. She gently patted Maishu's back, letting her cry without anyone seeing her tear-streaked face. Oh, you're here. Nan Shen scratched his head awkwardly when Tanhua arrived and caught him comforting Mishu. He didn't know why, but somehow he felt guilty. He shouldn't feel guilty after all, only this girl was chasing after him. He was free to chase after anyone he wanted. But once again, why did he feel so guilty? As if he had been caught red-handed cheating. How he wished his memory would come back, so he could finally understand what was going on with his own emotions. Just why did he feel like he had been caught betraying someone, when he and Tanhua had already broken up? Unfaithful. Tanhua mouthed the word at Nan Shen, without making a sound, mocking him for how quickly he had gone after Mishu once he lost his memories. Before, he had chased after her. And now, without his memories, he had gone back to chasing Mishu. Hateful. It would be a lie if she didn't feel hurt. But what else could she do? She knew from the start that Nan Shen's type was someone like Mishu. She didn't even know why Nan Shen chose her over Maishu when, in the drama, Nan Shen fell head over heels for Maishu. Now Nan Shen had lost his memory. Wait, could this be a way to make the plot go back on track? No, it couldn't be. Even though Nan Shen now seemed interested in Mishu, his perfect ideal girlfriend, she wouldn't give up. If Nan Shen had fallen for her before, she could make him fall again. As Tanhua was busy consoling Mishu, who by now had already broken down and was crying non-stop on her shoulder, Nan Shen secretly watched everything she did. What? Unfaithful? He wasn't this girl's boyfriend anymore. What unfaithful? Nan Shen grumbled, but somehow he couldn't take his eyes off Tanhua. This girl, as usual, was in her boyish appearance, but why did she look a bit cute? Like a golden retriever. Wait, what? Cute? No way. That couldn't be right. He must be imagining things. Nan Shen shook his head, but slowly. Images of Tanhua smiling at him in her boyish disguise began to appear in his mind. It must have been memories of her from the past, slowly resurfacing. Oh, he was slowly remembering this girl. The one who spilled tea on him during their very first meeting. He was now confused about why he hadn't punished this girl back then, when he still didn't know she was a girl. And he only remembered up to the point where he bullied her, before realizing her true identity. Wait, where was the rest of the memory? Nan Shen had also slowly started to remember Mishu. But still, he wanted his full memories of Tanhua. He was curious since this girl claimed he had fallen in love with her before. Why couldn't he remember that part? Anyway, The fact that he teased this girl by calling her a doggo was so like him. Now that he remembered this part, he would tease her again. Let's see if she could still keep up her plan of making him fall for her. That day, Tan Hua stayed at Mi Shu's house, and the next day, the four of them went to Mi Shu's mother's burial ceremony. Of course, Mi Shu's father, her stepsister, and her stepmother didn't come, since those toxic people had all ended up in jail except for the father. Cemetery. Thank you for coming. Mi Shu hugged Tan Hua again one last time before asking to be left alone. Tan Hua could only nod her head and leave with Nan Shen, while Ren Yuan stayed behind to talk a bit before leaving too. Get in, I'll bring you back. Tan Hua was just about to order a taxi when Nan Shen suddenly appeared behind her. He caught the back of her collar and, without warning, dragged her to his car like he usually did. Wait, what? Tan Hua felt deja vu when Nan Shen dragged her along just like before. Of course, this man still hadn't regained all his memories of her, but from the way he dragged her, it felt like the old Nan Shen had come back. Get in. Nan Shen tossed Tan Hua into the seat next to the driver's seat, before getting in himself, as if nothing had happened between them. As if he had never hurt Tan Hua by asking her for a breakup. You realize this is awkward for me, right? Tan Hua very much wanted to run away, but thinking that it would waste her energy, she stayed, folding her arms in front of her chest, feeling uncomfortable. The Nan Shen sitting next to her now was like a stranger. Someone she didn't really know anymore. Yeah, but I'm a gentleman. I won't let a girl go back alone at this hour. Nan Shen closed his car door and turned on the engine. It was indeed late, but still only 6 p.m. Not as late as Nan Shen made it seem. So, have you remembered anything about me? Tan Hua felt like she would die of awkwardness if she didn't talk, so in order to make things less tense, she started a conversation. Somehow, she still felt uneasy about sitting in the same car as someone who had dumped her just because he lost his memory. Even though the reason was understandable, since he had truly forgotten her, how could this man have turned into such a big jerk? If she weren't already in love with him, she would have moved on and gone to find a better man. Of course, that would have to wait until she could reveal her true identity to the world. A bit. Nan Shen frowned as more memories began to resurface. The memories weren't particularly important to him, but they showed him how he had always been a bit of a tease toward this girl in the past. This was strange. According to his memories, he had always treated others like a gentleman. Even though, deep down, he had a mischievous streak, he never showed it to others, not even to Mi Shu, the one he had once been interested in. So why was this girl different? Could it be that when she said he had fallen in love with her before, it was true? But no. He couldn't admit that, nor did he want to remember it. How could he fall for a normal girl like this? Besides her designing talent, she didn't have anything else. Did he go foolish back then? Or was it because he had been single for too long that his taste in women had changed? A bit? Tan Hua sighed when Nan Shen said he remembered her a little now. She was somewhat relieved that Nan Shen had finally remembered her, even if only a little. But how did he suddenly remember her? What triggered it? Wait, he said he remembered her a bit, but what exactly did he remember? What do you remember about me? Tan Hua carefully asked, hoping that what he recalled was something important. I just remembered how we first met and how I used to tease you, Nan Shen casually answered as he stopped the car not far from Tan Hua's new house. He didn't know why he didn't drop Tan Hua right in front of her house. Maybe he had a bad feeling? We're here. You can get off now, Nan Shen spoke again, turning his head toward Tan Hua, clearly signaling for her to leave his car, while he still had patience. He felt a bit irritated when Tan Hua asked him about his recovered memories for no reason. He just didn't like the fact that he hadn't acted like a gentleman toward this girl in the past. Seeing Nan Shen's expression change, Tan Hua fell silent. She actually felt awkward knowing that Nan Shen only remembered the difficult moments between them, not the good ones. Now, with things like this, how could she make this man fall in love with her again? He only remembered that she spilled tea on him when they first met. Oh, why did he have to remember that part, and not the part where they had already grown closer? I will go now. Thanks for the ride. Tan Hua broke into a cold sweat as she prepared to get out of Nan Shen's car. She was reluctant to leave, but Nan Shen had already chased her away in a gentle way. She wanted to pursue this man again because she loved him, and she wouldn't stop until she got what she wanted. But seeing how cold Nan Shen's attitude was this how he usually treated women who had feelings for him? Should she just give up without doing anything? Oh, come on. No, it was already so hard to meet Nan Shen these days. She had to at least leave a good impression on him, so he would slowly develop feelings for her. But what should she do? Be careful on the way home. Nan Shen unlocked the door, waiting for Tan Hua to get out. But strangely, she didn't move. Tan Hua gripped the hem of her clothes as an idea came to her mind. If she did this, she might be labeled as bold. But who knew? Maybe this would trigger more of Nan Shen's memories. Also, it would leave a lasting impression. Goodbye, her dignity. Tan Hua? Nan Shen tilted his head in confusion, seeing that she hadn't moved even though he had clearly told her to get out of his car while he was still being nice. What was this girl doing? Before Nan Shen could process what was happening, Tan Hua suddenly grabbed his collar and pulled him closer. She placed a quick, light kiss on his lips, just a brief touch. And as soon as she had done it, she hurriedly got out of the car, closing the door a little too hard. Blam! What? What just happened? Nan Shen was left alone in his car, completely stunned by what Tan Hua had just done. He had only wanted to get this girl home safely, but he didn't expect her to be so bold as to steal a kiss. That was his first flash. Just as he thought that, memories of a past date with Tan Hua, when he had been in disguise, suddenly flashed through his mind, sending a sharp pain through his head. Nan Shen gritted his teeth as he recovered another batch of memories. This time, he remembered when he and Tan Hua had gone to the cinema. That was when they had accidentally shared their first kiss. So that girl already stole my first kiss before too. Nan Shen massaged his temple as the memories settled in. They were still fragmented, not complete, but his recollection of Tan Hua was growing little by little. So he had gone on a fake date with her to keep an eye on my shoe and Ren Yuan? And they had accidentally kissed? That meant the kiss just now wasn't his first after all. Wait, but his first real kiss had still been with this girl. She was really a whirlwind in his life. A mystery. Unexpected. And he absolutely wouldn't fall in love with someone like her. Nan Shen cursed Tan Hua in his heart, but he himself didn't realize that his face was blushing slightly. As he went away from Tan Hua's house, heading back to his own home, he didn't even realize that his heart was clearly beating fast just from a short kiss given by Tan Hua. Maybe he realized it but refused to believe it as usual.